Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Dwaine Hartman, and this is Inner Balance TV. Today, I'd like to talk about what I have been hearing a lot about right now, all over the world, is that there's a sensation of almost stillness in the mind. And not necessarily stillness. People are a bit bothered by it, that they feel kind of stuck, kind of like they don't know what to do next. Now, this can possibly be a loop in time that's happening to us. And it's important for us to begin to move in the light at this time and begin to draw in that light from the top of our head, and move it into our system. Because, of course, we are more than what we've been told. And in order for us to get out of a repetitious loop like this, we need to bring in the light and utilize these light filaments that are coming from the sun, that are coming from the central sun, that's coming from higher realms. And as we do, we can begin to bring in this light and get clearer in what we want to do next. Because literally, we're standing on a precipice. We stand on this precipice and we look out into nothingness. It's pure potentiality, but it is nothing at the same time. It's everything and nothing. Now, what has happened in the past is that we continue to reorientate ourselves to our past, which then we remanifest into our future, so that we have a sense of security, a sense of stability. That same practiced hypnotic practice loop that we play on ourselves with our past, and thinking about our past and talking about our past, gets remanifested out into our future in different ways. So it's not necessarily the same situations that come to you, but it has the same vibratory quality. Now, in order to break this loop, this unending literal Groundhog Day, and I think this is, to an extent what we're experiencing is a loop, is to bring in the light and start to imagine more. Because it doesn't matter one way or another, we are still standing on that precipice in life. And out in front of us, we get to create whatever we want. Instead of going into neutral and just recreating the past again, we want to take a look at drawing in this light and start to imagine ourselves and things differently. Like I was saying, we are more than what we've been told. And the ability that we have within us to create reality is phenomenal. If we simply catch ourselves at these times and start to create something different. Now, I have a video for you and video segments here tonight in regards to the Bringers of the Dawn. And because I find what they have to say resonates very, very well with what is going on now. Even though the book was written a little while back, what she has to say is worth the listen, because it just simply resonates very well.
These light-encoded filaments exist as millions of fine, thread-like fibers inside your cells, while counterpart light-encoded filaments exist outside of your body. The light-encoded filaments carry the language of light geometry, which carries the stories of who you are. These light-encoded filaments were not previously able to come onto the planet because there was a pollution created by the dark team that kept them out. The information in the filaments was left inside of you, yet there was no logical way to make sense of it. So, in the present time, how do you find the information? The information is going to reveal itself to you. That is the process. You don't have to go looking for it, because this revelation is your heritage and who you are. As the DNA begins to form new strands, these new strands will travel along a nervous system in the body that is being developed at this time, and memories will come flooding into your consciousness. You must work to develop this nervous system, to pull light into your body, to oxygenate your system, to learn how to move through energy accelerations, and to call more ideas and experiences into your body. As this process begins to grow and nurture itself in your body, simply observe it, for you will want to know how to access it. Getting stuck in your dramas is like reading one of your books over and over again and not letting all of the information in other books come together. There is more. There is a whole story.
So when we talk about these light propellants, and we talk about the central sun and the sun itself broadcasting to us light, our DNA picks up those light frequencies and begins to activate. And like she was mentioning here, is that there's nothing much that you need to do besides bring in the light. Continuously allow that light to come in during this time. And of course, this takes us beyond this stuck state. And the constant repeating of the past. And as we start to elevate our frequency. And when we elevate this frequency, we become freer and freer, freer than we can even think. The more that we do this, the more that we start to explore who we are, the more the knowledge and information, like she spoke about, begins to reveal itself to you, that you have your own teacher within, and this teacher within begins to guide you in ways to come back to your true nature. And I talk a lot about your true nature. And what does this mean, this true nature? Well, there's a much more relaxed and knowledgeable and connected part of you. And this part of you is part of what has been set aside, what has been pushed away in our world of things. We have been hypnotized into a social structure, and this social structure says and tells us what we should be and what we should do and what we should eat and what we should wear, everything. And in this social structure that's mainly propagated through media, it's almost like propaganda. And this is coming through to us all the time, bombarding us as to what we should be, influencing us, right? Getting us upset, concerned, frustrated, these sorts of things, and not on our path and on our center of who we are, and actually bringing in this light and feeling the unconditional love of that light. So as we move along, we're going to learn a little bit more about DNA and about what its importance is for us and what it's doing and what this light frequency is doing for us.
DNA holds the code. It holds the blueprint of identity, the plan for existence, the history of the universe, and the history of life in this particular locale. And it is stored within the cells of humans. The original DNA of the stewards of this planet, the human occupants, had a genetic blueprint that was based on the number 12. The 12 strands of genetic material are therefore connected to many other representatives or informational sources that also number 12. Remember, reality mirrors reality. The 12 strands of information hooked the human occupant up with corresponding information centers in and out of the body. We call Earth the living library because you all have an image of what a library is. It is a place where information is stored and available. We use this analogy because we intend to evoke the image that everywhere you go, you are in a library. You just haven't figured out yet how to translate the information or recognize where it is in the library.
I know one way that we can access this library that I have tasked clients and students to do, and I've done very much of this myself, is to stop asking questions. If we stop asking questions for even a week, 2 weeks, we just refuse to ask anyone a question, and we say to ourselves, I will know, you'll be surprised at what happens. You'll be surprised at the answers that come to you if you just have a little patience. And with that patience, all of a sudden, maybe on the radio, maybe something you're reading, maybe a conversation you overhear, all of a sudden the answer comes to you, and you know when it hits you that it's the right answer. And this is a way to access this library as well, because it is all around us. This wealth of wisdom and understanding is everywhere. And also contacting in this way of not asking questions, it kind of forces you to contact your own higher self, your oracle within, the God source energy. All of a sudden, you begin to recognize there is something more, because the answers do come and they do show up. And another thing is that you understand that something is listening and putting these events in front of you so that you can actually experience the answer. It's something that you might want to play with a little bit. Just stop asking questions and access that library of wisdom.
It is during this time that all the great events are going to begin to occur upon Earth. Many events have already been occurring, but they have been sequestered away in little compartmentalizations of officialdom. Those of you who are ancients, who are the masters awakening, as you awaken, we want you to be able to see out of the ancient eyes and to awaken something that you know, something that you remember, something that is deep inside. You are going to need to trust yourself and rely upon yourself. You need to be able to see, to understand what you are seeing, and to translate the grander vision for others. It is up to you, and only you, to undo the locks and allow yourselves to go forward. We have spoken about your beliefs and the importance of thought. We emphasize over and over again that you are a result of thought, that thought is, and that this is the essence of understanding, manipulating, and working within your world.
So our thought of who we are, or our continuous pattern of thought, manifests outside of ourselves. So if we're standing on that precipice and we're looking out into the future, which is really a blank canvas, that when we entertain thought in our mind, entertain arguments, entertain disputes, entertain all kinds of things going on in our mind, we're sending that vibratory frequency out into the future, into that blank space, and then there's opportunities that present themselves for you to experience that again. This is what I mean by the loop. And this time loop that's happening right now is that this right now is in a state of suspended animation. We have an opportunity, we have a portal right now to change this. Not that this has been given, by some other beings or anything else. It's simply that at this point in time, there is a lull, and there's this space. Utilize this space, utilize this time to start to think about yourself differently, because you are a product of your own thought. That experiences, circumstances, and events show up in your life directly because of how you're thinking and what you're entertaining in your mind. So you can start to open up to different experiences just by thinking about them and getting excited about them. What if things could change? What if all of a sudden your circumstances could improve even more than what they are? What if all of a sudden you could get excited just like, Christmas Day, and that I wonder what's going to start to happen for me, right? And we start entertaining that state of mind, that surprise. What's outside of the box? What's going to start to unfold for me? And we start doing something different with the energy in our body. Well, that again gets presented into this tomorrow and comes back to us as experience. And then we learn that we really are multidimensional, that nothing really holds you as long as you have an imagination. One of my old teachers said that, a lot of his clients would come to him and say they have this problem and that thing and this thing. And no matter who it was, he was saying to them, I don't know if you really have that thing or if you just have a lack of imagination. And then he would help them with their imagination and stepping into different states of being. And in this different state of being, they would create something different for themselves. We really are freer than what we can think. We really can travel with this being that we are, this emotional aspect of who we are. When we get in control of it and we start utilizing our imagination again. Remember, the imagination was something that society didn't want you to play with. Why? Because you would think yourself outside of the box. That's why. You would start to create yourself and recreate yourself and come out of the box. You would begin to experience something new. And you can't do that in a society that wants you to be confined, you see. So the first thing you'd have to do with a society like that is get them not to use their imagination anymore. Because if you can think about what it is that you want to become, all of a sudden you have an emotion about that, and you just breathe in and go into that emotion and start to expand it, guess what? You're rewriting your own history. Just like that. You can travel to any place, any experience you want to. You're that free. You're that free.
This is the age of the multidimensional self, the self who can move with awareness in many different realities, the self who can eventually bilocate and disappear, the self who can move into fourth dimensional consciousness, the perceiver, not the thinker. Intuition is the avenue that you are now being guided to cultivate to bring about a marriage of consciousness. It is the marriage of the male aspect, which is logical, with the female aspect, which is feeling. It involves bringing them together to become one. The soul is going to wake up. It will know every aspect of itself, and every aspect of the soul self will know all of itself at once. As you grow and come to these higher realms of recognition, you will break through what feels like cement blocks, layers of yourself that have held you down. Think of the frequency that has limited the human experiment as a radio station. The human experiment has had one radio station on for 300,000 years. Same old tunes. The human experiment was unable to turn the dial and hear a different band, so the same frequency was broadcast. This created a quarantine, a sealing off of this planet. The creative cosmic rays sent by Prime Creator and the original planners pierce through this frequency shield. They bombard Earth. However, they must have someone to receive them. Without a receptacle, these creative cosmic rays would create chaos and confusion. You, as members of the family of light, come into this system to receive these rays of knowledge. You then disseminate the knowledge, the new lifestyle, and the new frequency to the rest of the population to alter the entire planet. As members of the family of light, you are here to anchor frequency and allow the mutation process to happen inside of your bodies so that you can make it available to the planet. You live this process, then you broadcast it to the planet. The ultimate tyranny in a society is not control by martial law. It is control by the psychological manipulation of consciousness through which reality is defined so that those who exist within it do not even realize that they are in prison. They do not even realize that there is something outside of where they exist. We represent what is outside of what you have been taught exists. It is where you sometimes venture and where we want you to dwell. It is outside of where society has told you you can live. You have been deprived of knowledge by frequency control. Frequency control limits the number of stations you can tune into. As members of the family of light, you must anchor new frequencies through static chaos and bring them into the physical realm. As you learn about your own personal history and discover patterns of ineffectual behavior that you must break and change, the planet pulses through its own patterns of behavior. You are about to repeat history as a planet in a most dramatic way. You have come to alter and remove the frequency of limitation and to bring in the frequency of information. When you are informed, you move beyond the need to be in fear. When you feel uninformed and out of control, you do not understand the bigger picture. Each of you came to awaken something inside yourself, inside the coding of your being, the DNA, and you are responding to it. This is why you are on a search in all directions of your life.
So when we allow these thought propellants to come in, when we allow ourselves to connect to the sun, connect to the central sun, we do meditations where we bring in the light within us, we're activating our DNA. And in activating our DNA, we're allowing our DNA to make adjustments. Memories, our ancient memories, come back to us as we allow ourselves to go into the heart. Because it's through the heart, through feeling, that we begin to allow ourselves to remember. Remember our history, and remember all of our knowledge and wisdom. We begin to connect with higher intelligence when we do this. And this higher intelligence has been here for a long time. It's always wanted to connect with you. And as you allow yourself to relax in your mind enough from the social structure, from the social hypnosis, and allow yourself to drop into that place in the mind. The only time you drop into that place is when you Allow yourself to feel safe enough. The way that the mind usually runs, we're never safe enough. We're always in a state of panic in one way or another, or in dramas, or in all sorts of things. But when we allow ourselves to just say enough and begin to drop into a relaxed place in ourself, that everything's going to be fine, everything is okay, and we just allow ourselves to drop into that place, then we connect with a very deep part of who we are that's connected to all. And through that avenue, the information begins to arrive to you. You begin to come up with your own answers and your own wisdom and knowledge. All emotion is packed with information that when you pass from this plane of existence, everything is coagulated into an emotion, and that emotion is stored in the soul as you move on to somewhere else. So the information of all lifetimes is within you, and all you need to do to access it is to return to your feelings and allow yourself to open up to your imagination, which is the portal to all. I hope you enjoyed this show today, and I look forward to the next time we have a show. And until then, if you're feeling that you're stuck in a state of neutral, remember, allow yourself to bring in that light, even if you imagine it above you, and bring it in, and allow yourself to connect again. Feel safe, feel comfortable, and allow yourself to go higher. And once you're higher, you'll understand a lot better. So until next time, love, light, and blessings, Dwaine.
Consciousness must change. This is part of the divine plan, and this opportunity and setup are not going to be missed.